How's it going, everybody? This is Aliskerov, and you're listening to Story of the Fight.
What is up, Will?
What up, what up?
Welcome, everybody, to Story of the Fight. My name is Ramiro. That's my boy, Will. And this is where we talk all things mixed martial arts and life and anything that's going on at this specific point in time. If this is your first time tuning in, please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Goes a long way. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. We're currently at
9,200 or something like that.
Something like that, around there.
Close.
So we've been growing, steady growing, here in the last couple of months. So please make sure you continue telling your friends, your grandmas, your moms, everybody that loves listening to MMA. Because I know in the retirement homes, it's popping off.
It's popping.
It's popping.
I got nothing to do but watch YouTube.
UFC.
Yeah.
And just MMA in general. You know what I mean? But if you don't like watching, you like listening, where can they find us, Will?
Yeah, it's at Story of the Fight everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, pretty much anywhere podcasts are. We're on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Reddit. What's the other one? Threads. Story of the Fight everywhere.
Story of the Fight everywhere. I love it. I love it. Regen, shout out Regeneration Nation TV. Volk might have lost, but the good news is the new Spider-Man game is amazing.
I heard it's so good.
Look, sometimes we talk video games too.
Hey, new UFC game comes out real soon.
Yeah.
This week.
Regen also says, I told all my moms that we're already fans. I love it. I love it. I appreciate the support, Regen. Hey, are you ready for Halloween, Will?
Dude, I've been eating so much candy. I'm doing no sugar unless it's the weekends. And
what? When did this
start?
start?
I'm trying, dude, because I think I'm pre-diabetic, dude.
Really?
Yeah, I go super hard with sugar, and
you've always had a sweet tooth for sure.
I used to eat gummy worms on my lunch breaks. Remember that? Like every single day.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, dude, I can't help it. Blunderbub says, "What's up, fellas? I'm sorry, I've been watching fight nights lately, but I ain't paying for all that." Yeah, I feel you. But yeah, dude. So I've been trying to cut down on the sugar. We got a bag of Kit Kats, the mini Kit Kats, the Reese's cups, and then those little Nerds clusters, dude.
Oh my god,
those Nerds clusters.
Dude, this is my favorite holiday, man. It's my family's favorite holiday. Super into it. Dude, look at this sick shirt, by the way. Shout out Manifest Tattoo Society.
Sick.
Yeah, dude, over in anybody in the DFW area, go check out Manifest Tattoo Society. Legit work over there. But, dude, I went over there. They were doing Friday the 13th tattoos.
Hell yeah.
Ran out of time, though, because family, soccer. So I had to dip it. I was like, dude, let me at least get that sick-ass shirt.
It's a cool
shirt. I just love this time of year, dude.
I noticed it when you first started it. When we
it's
first
sick,
started, and I saw the shirt, I was like, "Ooh, that's kind of sick." I don't know what that is, but it's cool.
If you like the shirt, you'll like their tattoos for sure. Well, but hey,
got my guys.
UFC 294 went down last night. Pretty big deal. We had a lot of changes, a lot of last minute changes coming through. The main event, we had the Bronx drop out, right? So who stepped in?
Yeah, Volkanovski steps in on 11 days' notice. The rematch.
Paulo Costa steps out, right, of the co-main event. Who steps in?
Khamzat. Kamaru Usman on 9 days' notice.
Oh my god, dude! And it just everything just boom happening.
It was so fast.
Hey, shout out Brian, by the way, for joining us. Nerds Cluster's best candy of all time.
Dude, it is really unreal, dude. If you haven't had them, it is insane. They're so good.
Blunderbub, we can destroy a bag of Reese's Cups in short time in this house, dude. For me. For sure, it's Kit Kats.
That's the bag. That's the bag I got. Kit Kats, Reese's Cups, and Nerds Clusters. We saw it at Target, and we were like, "Holy shit!"
That's an amazing.
Hold on, there was one bag with all three of those things in it.
I'll go grab it right now if you don't believe me.
Oh my god! Okay, we gotta shut it down. I'm going to Target.
Hey, by the way, shout out Rich the Casual, our producer in the background there. Only comes on when we talk candy. And video games.
Street Fighter. Yeah.
Or Street Fighter, yeah. But yeah, so we had UFC 294 going down. All right. Well, we could start talking about it if you're ready to start talking about it, Will.
Yeah, let's do it. Abu Dhabi.
All right.
Big time.
Abu Dhabi, we had the main event, Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. That is Rich the Casual's boy, by the way. Rich the Casual doesn't know very much about MMA. He knows a lot about producing, which is how he holds the show down. But he knows about Alexander Volkanovski. That's his boy. So you know he was heartbroken last night. But what are your thoughts, Will? Tell us. Break it down.
Yeah, so the first thing outside of the fight itself, we had the first fight. It was a close fought match, much closer than pretty much everybody thought it was going to be, just because of the size difference. Because Volk is not a big featherweight. HB Comer says, I actually bought this pay-per-view as it was finally airing at a proper time in Europe. What a shit show it turned out to be. It was chaos. What a chaotic event. But yeah, back to the fight. We got the first fight was somewhat close. I had Islam winning 4 rounds out of that first fight, but it wasn't like a landslide. You know what I mean? So that
it was a very close fight. It was a fun fight. 4
rounds to 1 sounds way more dominant than like it actually played out. You know what I mean? Because it was close. Volkanovski, obviously, he's one of the greats. That's the reason his nickname is the Great. It's not because he's named Alex. But
it goes together.
But it works.
Yeah, it works.
Some nicknames only work one way. His works too. But yeah, close first fight. Everyone knew there was going to be a rematch eventually. I thought Islam would defend his belt against an actual lightweight, and then Volkanovski would defend his belt against Elliott, and then they would do the rematch. I think that's probably what was going to happen. Right, Islam versus the Bronx, maybe versus Gaethje before, but who knows? Volkanovski finally has a new challenger at his weight class, so we'll get him to defend. Then we can do the rematch. And then the Bronx pulls out. He had a nasty cut on his eyebrow. A shout out Diggs, by the way. Hey, what's up, G? Shout out Twitch. We're on Twitch. Yeah. So the Bronx pulls out. He's got a nasty cut. Like 10 days before the fight.
By the way,
11 days
if you haven't seen the picture and if you're not squeamish, check it out, because there's no way he could have fought. No way you could have fought with that.
Yeah, it was bad. And, I've seen people, there's a narrative already that the Bronx wanted out of the fight. He was saying he doesn't want to fight him in Abu Dhabi. And it's like, so he cut open his eyebrow to get out of the fight? What are we talking about here? Yeah. The guy who faced like the killers of lightweight back to back, finished all of them. He's scared to fight Islam again. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy narrative.
It's ridiculous. But regardless, Volk steps in, and I was like, what a gangster, but also terrible career move. Absolutely terrible career move. Not a good move. Because, look, he lost the first fight against Islam, but it was so close that you knew they were going to do it again. And it was such a great fight, an all-time classic. You know they're going to do it again. Why would you want to rush this on 9 days' notice, go up a weight class? He clearly was not in the shape that he should have been in. You could tell just by his physique. Why would you do this because if you lose, no one's going to be like, well, it was a 9 days' notice. Let's do a third one. You're 0-2 against them. That's not going to happen here. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I guess if you pull it off, it's like one of the greatest success stories in the sport, but it's just a really not a good decision from his team, in my opinion. And like Regen says, I felt like this was a lose-lose for Islam unless he finished Volk in the first round. Yeah, because if you're Islam and it's another close fight, that's not a good look, against a 9-day Volk or a 10-day Volk or whatever it was. So that's before the fight. What did you think of the fight?
Man, it was. I didn't expect it to go the way it did. And look, you talk about his physique. I would kill to have that body right now, Will.
I'm not saying.
I know what you're saying. I'm just saying he still looked like he's in good shape.
He didn't look like Volk though.
No. But also, we're used to seeing him at 145. He's absolutely shredded.
But even when he fought Islam the first time, he was still shredded. He just put on some mass for that fight because he was actually able to properly bulk up.
He did also mention that he hadn't been training as much as he probably should have been training. And it's not like he wasn't training because he wasn't training because he didn't think he had a fight coming up. It's not that he wasn't training because he wasn't taking his fight seriously. Mm-hmm. So the fight, though, I didn't think it was going to go the way it did. So Islam Makhachev, look, everybody talks in AKA about his stand-up. We know him for his wrestling. A lot of people know him for his wrestling. He comes up with Nurmagomedov and his family. So he's a solid wrestler. We have people coming out of that camp all the time saying like, man, you think his wrestling is good. His striking is even better. And you're like, really, is it? You know, and you see glimpses of it here and there.
He's got some knockouts, right?
Yeah, he's got some knockouts. But then yesterday, he just looked so comfortable circling around the octagon, man. And that straight right was like a piston yesterday and kept on landing a few times.
That's always a good strike for him. And, you know, when he's fighting in that southpaw stance, it's so weird because, you're expecting a wrestler, but then you're also having a tricky kind of stand-up puzzle to figure out because, most people aren't as comfortable fighting southpaws, right? So you're focusing on the wrestling, but then, hey, also you're now dealing with a southpaw striker. And, that Mighty Mouse called it in his breakdown before this fight, saying, look, the left kick for Islam is the moneymaker in this fight. And it's going to be, and if he uses it, that's going to be the difference maker, is basically what he was saying. God, Mighty Mouse is so goddamn good, right?
He is.
And so the fight starts. And
it's like he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's like he's like with the goat or something. Islam is throwing that low leg kick, the inside leg kick with his left leg because they're open stance. And it's landing well. And then he starts going to the body. And you're like, oh, nice. Mighty Mouse was right. It's a good kick. Because at open side, if you're orthodox and you're fighting a southpaw fighter, the rear leg body kick favors the southpaw, right? Because that's hitting the liver, whereas the orthodox fighter is just going to hit you the side. There's nothing there, right? So the southpaw body kick against an orthodox fighter is way more powerful than the reverse, and you have to be cognizant of it if you're the orthodox fighter. And then eventually he throws the high kick, and Volk gets the hand up, and you're like, "Ooh, that was a nasty one." And then he shoots for a takedown. Volk stuffs it like this, and it's like, man. At this moment, I was not even paying attention to the kicks as much. I wasn't like, "Ooh, he's getting it." I was just like, you're watching the fight. He stuffs the takedown. They get up to the fence. Volk turns him around, gets Islam's back against the fence, and I was like, man, this is why Volk's so good, dude. On 10 days' notice, here he is, like stuffing Islam Makhachev takedowns. It's hard to take down a bowling ball, and Volk's basically just a block.
Have you ever tried? It's hard.
No, I haven't.
It's hard.
Cut to Ramiro and the kids at the bowling alley, and Ramiro
just try to sprawling on a bowling ball.
On a bowling ball. And then they separate. Islam lands some nasty knees. You can see in that plum clinch that he's so strong, and he's curling. He's breaking Volk's posture, and that's hard to do against Volk because he's like so stout. It's hard to break someone's posture if they're not long. And they separate, and then bam, he throws the left high kick, and Volk has the hand up, but he leans down almost like he's expecting it to maybe go to like the body.
Yeah.
And
what a
and
setup!
Right over the hand. His hand's here, and it goes right over, hits him in the eyebrow, splits his eyebrow, wobbles him, and you can see it's one of those knockouts where you're like fighting to stay in your brain. You know what I mean? Like, because he wobbles, and you can see he's like, a lot of people would have just gone down from that. Let's be real. And Volk kind of stumbles a little bit, and it's like he's fighting his body from going out. When you get choked out and you're on the verge of passing out, and you're like, no. And you're like trying to keep your vision, and you're trying. I bet you that's exactly what's happening with Volk. But he can't stay up, and then Islam just puts it on him with the ground and pound.
Look at that background, by the way, the reactions.
I know, dude.
Such a good picture.
You think this is a good picture? Wait till you see the next one. Maybe one of the greatest MMA photos of all time, in my opinion.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I'm excited now. Let's run it, he says. Oh, that is a good picture.
Damn, dude.
That is a really good picture, actually.
Because immediately after he finishes them, he's telling the crowd to calm down. He's putting his hand down and like, hey, calm down. Puts his hand, like, the silence right. And God, what a picture. That is insane, dude.
Yeah. But look, dude, Alexander, the great Volkanovski, and say what you say about him. Like, just to be able to get this call on short notice, to move up in weight class, to go into a rematch against the last person that beat you for the 155-pound title.
The only guy to beat you in the UFC, right?
You're still the great man. Like, you're fantastic. You're still a 145-pound champ. But dude, the cojones on this guy.
Yeah.
To get that call and just be like, yeah, for sure, I'll do that rematch. And like he said, he hadn't been training that much. You said probably not the best career move. Probably not, but still an absolute savage to be able to say, I'll step in here with Islam Makhachev.
Yeah, and you can question the decision making, but you can't question the toughness. And like at the end of the day, this loss, in my opinion, doesn't really mean much to him or his legacy because he has that excuse card in the back pocket. It's like, this was 10 days notice in Abu Dhabi. You know what I mean? I wasn't even training for a fight. You could tell visibly that he wasn't, like, the shape he was in wasn't fight ready shape for Volkanovski. So like he has those caveats where like the loss doesn't really mean too much. The biggest thing that this loss means is that he's not going to get a third fight. That's the biggest problem with this. Which ultimately doesn't really matter. There's a bunch of fighters who were never double champs.
Hey, if you're Volkanovski, do you want to go back up to 155 eventually and try to get that belt? Or do you just sit at 145 and just reign at that
totally
division?
Fine with that. The double champ stuff for me, it doesn't really like hold that much weight. Like
even if it's not double champ, let's say he just says like, hey, I relinquished the belt.
Well, just 2 weight classes.
I'm stepping up to 155.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be simultaneous. Like there might be some people who put a lot of stock in that, and I understand. For me, I don't know why. I just don't really. It doesn't weigh too much for me. Like getting a championship in another division. Like what matters to me is like the actual performances and stuff, and like how you look in there against the competition. Look, I'm not discounting John Jones being the heavyweight champ. I'm not discounting GSP getting the middleweight belt. Daniel Cormier doing light heavyweight and heavyweight. I am discounting Conor doing 145 and 155.
How dare you?
No, he did that, right? He put on a masterclass against Eddie Alvarez. He just shouldn't have been a double champ. That was bullshit. But like, it doesn't knock his legacy, in my opinion, at all, because he's still trying it. And look, there's some guys like DC who went down to light heavyweight, but he was a heavyweight, and then he goes to heavyweight and gets the belt. Islam is not a 155er. The guy could probably go down to bantamweight better than he can go to 155. He's small, like he's not a lightweight, so it doesn't drop his stock to me really at all.
Islam or
Volkanovski. It doesn't drop my stock in Volk. My stock does go way higher for Islam though.
The way says,
and that's like you said, you expect the wrestling. You don't expect high kick knockouts from. You would never expect that from Khabib, right? And I know everybody wants to make the comparisons, but HB Comer says Volk wants to fight in January. Is that really a good idea? Again, maybe his team needs to sit him down and say, look, we know you're a savage, but we're at the point now where we need to start taking this a little bit more seriously and plan things out. It's just, look, January's what, 3 months away?
Mm-hmm.
It's got a bad cut 3 months after a knockout, and you're going to fight a savage like Elliott, who is a striker, not a wrestler. Maybe not a good call. And it kind of sucks because if Volk can't make it, they're going to do Ilya versus Max Holloway. And I don't really want to see Max beat another number one contender and block Volk from a new title fight, a new title opportunity. So, I don't know. But
yeah, hey, there's been a lot of good chatter, by the way, on the chat. Blunderbub asking, do fighters get to negotiate higher pay purse when they take fights on short notice? It's been well documented that they get taken care of, right, by the UFC whenever they do.
Usman and Volk got fucking paid.
Rolling in the dough. Rolling for sure. Let's see here. Blunderbub says, I knew some heavyweights who were just really big bowling balls. Facts.
Yeah.
For sure.
DC is one of them.
HOB Comer also points out, also interesting how he and Izzy both suffered from a certain burnout. You've heard that a lot from Izzy recently, saying, hey, I need to take some time off. Wouldn't be a bad idea for Volk to take some time off too. And the thing is that we see 1 or 2 fights a year, 3 fights a year maybe, but the grind in between where we don't have a camera in front of them the entire time to stay at that level, come on.
Championship fight camps are no joke. The problem is, and it's a little worrying, is in the post-fight interview, Volk is talking about how, he doesn't do well when he's not fighting. So he had to take this fight and not do well mentally is what he's saying. And like, that's scary because a lot of we've seen it numerous times where guys at the end of their career fight way more often than they should, and they're getting knocked out and they should retire sooner. Someone who puts their life into fighting like this and like that's a dark road, dude. And that's a little scary to see, like the foreshadowing with that. And it's, as much as we rail on Dominic Cruz, when he lost his belt and he was against Cody Garbrandt, and he did that post-fight interview at the press conference, and he was talking about, look, like, I don't need the win anymore. Like, this sucks, obviously, but like, my life doesn't, my value and my mental health doesn't rely on the win. It doesn't rely on the outcome of this stuff. And he's talked about how it took so long for him to get to that point. I hope Volk does, dude, because that's gnarly.
Math Prodigy coming through and saying, do you think it's like an extra 100,000? I mean, Dana passes out 250,000 to Milk Boys like Halloween candy. Oh, that's hilarious. By the way, I love the fact that shout out Math Prodigy. By the way, thanks for joining us. That somebody with that name, Math Prodigy, is talking numbers on there, so it's awesome. And then HOB Comer saying Volk's end is near. Don't say Rich right now is probably in the background shedding tears, as this is one of the only fighters that he follows. And so he does not want to hear that the end is near.
Look, the man is 35 years old.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound like an old person, but historically, I think statistically, I think it's like 80% of champs that are over 36 or 36 and over lose. It's like it's crazy. The drop off is
keep on
insane.
Throwing those numbers out. Math Prodigy is smiling right now in front of his screen.
Yeah, but it's tough, man. He's 35 years old. To be in these type of fight camps back to back to back to back, fighting the killers of the division or the next division, you know,
gotta wear on him.
It's tough, man. Like, if Volk can defend that 145-pound belt against Topuria, maybe you call it there, dude. Honestly, I don't know. It's tough.
All right, so let me ask you this, Will, and I'll ask everybody else in the chat.
Maybe not. I don't know.
DeBronx next, or do you go Justin Gaethje next?
Yeah, that's weird, right? Because DeBronx had it, and it's not like he pulled out for some bullshit. Like, it was bad. It's a bad cut. But Gaethje was promised a title fight after knocking out Dustin.
Yeah.
Gaethje also denied the short notice fight, from what I'm told. So Dustin Poirier was also asked and did agree to it, but they went with Volk. Probably if Volk said no, they would have went with Poirier. But yeah, I don't know. And you know, Blunderbutt makes a good point there. Ton Lee is still ripping legs off at 38 years old, but one doesn't have USADA, and neither does the UFC. After
I was gonna say, neither does the UFC.
So maybe Volk can get a couple years later. You know what I mean?
Why not?
You could extend that.
We
career.
talked about this in the last one. You know, just let them have at it. Just let them have at it.
Well, you know they're getting the team that does the NFL, so we should be good.
Is that who they're getting?
Yeah. The guys who do the drug testing for the NFL and the and college football also. NCAA, is that what it is?
Yeah, NCAA. Oh, dude, really? It's exactly.
Yeah, so we're good.
Yeah. They might as well start putting in the contracts like, hey, we don't drug test.
They literally say, like, we work with the organization to come up with the list of things to ban because we understand there are things that it's like, wait a second, what are you saying right now?
I love it.
Crazy.
That's hilarious. All right, man. Well, hey, that's all I have on
longevity.
That's all I have on the main event. Did you have anything else?
We talked pretty much only about Volkanovski. We kind of talked a little bit about Islam, but man, for Islam to also take this fight on short notice, a guy who took him 5 rounds, was it Regen that was saying it's a pretty much a lose-lose for Islam if he doesn't finish him in the first round. He goes out there and does it with the high kick. This is big for Islam, man, because now it's like with Khabib, you're so worried about the wrestling. You're so worried. Don't let him get close. Don't let him get close. Like Chael Sonnen, right? And Islam now, even if he's not close, he might be setting some up to knock you out. Like,
yeah,
there's always going to be comparisons between Khabib and Islam. If Islam stays on this track, and please let him defend a belt against a lightweight, we need to see him actually fight lightweights as a champ. Like, dude, he has a crazy opportunity for greatness. So yeah, I'm excited to see if he can go through the Bronx again.
From shopping at Ross, right?
Yeah, shout out Coleslaw.
Headlining.
I was telling Kevin, I was watching the fights with Kevin, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, Josh fucking met Islam in Ross like 5 or 6 years ago up in San Jose. And he was like, oh, was he cool? And I was like, yeah, I guess he was like super stoked that somebody recognized it because he was nobody at that point. I don't think he might have had one UFC fight. And he's in there with who was he with? I don't remember who he was with. But they're like buying like slides and shit at Ross. And just this picture with Josh is like,
that's so awesome, man.
So sick,
that's a good story.
And then little do you know, this guy ends up being the champ, dude. It's crazy.
There you go. Josh should reach out to him and be like, yo, remember me?
Yeah. Math Prodigy says that's tough. I guess you give it to Gaethje since Charles had a chance but dropped the ball, whether intentionally or unintentionally. Show must go on. Justin is due again. Islam is diff than Khabib. Yeah, and that's the interesting too. They were talking about that's the interesting thing, I should say. Justin will be the first guy who faced Khabib to take on Islam.
Oh,
I think is he would be the first guy with a common opponent. So that's interesting. There's a little wrinkle to that one, you know?
Yeah.
And let's be real. You head kick knockout Dustin Poirier, you should get a title shot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
For sure. For sure. All right. We ready?
Yeah.
Move on?
Let's do it.
Let's go on to the co-main event.
Real quick. Regent says, who at lightweight would you pick against Islam? He has a high chance to go down as the best lightweight ever. Yeah, I mean, seriously.
He really does.
I don't know who gets in trouble. I don't know.
Once he starts getting a little bit older, we'll talk then. But right now, I can't see anybody. Let's go down the list real quick, right? Sorry, I know we said we're going to move on to the co-main, but that's a very good question that Region posts there. So you got DeBronx Oliveira, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Beneil Dariush, Michael Chandler, Mateusz Gamrot, Rafael Fiziev, Arman Tsarukyan, Dan Hooker, Rafael Dos Anjos. That's the top 10.
Yeah.
Who?
No. I say no.
And even if you go outside the top 10, like sometimes you'll look outside the top 10, you're like, hey, in a year or two, this person's on the way. Listen here. Jalen Turner? No. Bobby Green, as much as you love him, Will, let's be real here. No. Renato Moicano?
He already beat him.
Matt Frivola? Steamroller Frivola?
Not going to happen.
No. Drew Dober.
It's my boy, but no.
Dude, I mean, he can wipe out the division. He can. Yeah. You know, so I'm excited to see it. I'm excited to see his reign.
The problem is they're already talking about if Colby beats Leon, we want
No. Please, let's not do that. Look,
don't do that. We need to see him fight fucking lightweights. Come on.
You know your boy eats that shit up, right? Yeah. Like I love seeing that. I'm the exact opposite. Let me see it. Dude, I remember growing up and I'm watching like Oscar De La Hoya, Mayweather, and I'm watching Manny Pacquiao, and you have Michael Buffer up there. He's like the former 124 pound, the former 128 pound, the former 134, and he's just like naming it off. And I'm like, that's so sick, dude, to be able to say like all these different weight divisions. I was the man. So like seeing it now, like, look, dude, I'm getting all excited just talking about it now, right? But with this guy specifically, with Islam Makhachev, I feel like we could have something so special where years down the road, even after he's done, like people won't be arguing who the best was. Like it's going to be set in stone that he was the best to ever do it at 155. Like I truly believe that he has that capability. So I want to see it happen.
Plus, like, what do we learn if he goes up and beats Colby Covington? Like nothing. It does nothing for me.
I mean, it would do something for you to see Colby Covington lose to.
I mean, yeah, I'd be stoked to see him lose. But it's just like, that's the type of shit that pisses me off about the sport. Math Prodigy or Blunderbub says cross promotion return fight for Christian Lee. Yeah, if he's sick. I think Islam probably smokes him though, and I love Christian Lee. Region says please stay at lightweight and become the GOAT. That's what I want, dude. And like going up and beating Colby Covington doesn't do that. But going through that murderer's row we just talked about, look, because what?
Oh, it would cement him as the GOAT.
Yeah. Because look, people complained about Islam getting a title shot and said he's only got it because he beat because he's Khabib's boy, all this shit. They're trying to replace Khabib with him. The plus side of that is now that he's champ, there's a bunch of fresh matchups that he did not face. Because sometimes there's guys who clear out the division just to get to the damn belt. That's not Islam. He's got a bunch of fresh matchups that he could take on as challengers. And if he could knock them down as champ, dude, that's what makes GOATs, not random one-off fights at the beginning of their reign.
To see like a mouth breather like him,
to
like
dude,
go through and be an absolute killer. Have you seen those videos where he's sitting next to Khabib? He's just like staring out like looks so confused all the time. I love it. He's just thinking about smashing.
He's just seeing high kicks, dude.
All the time.
Just like, I see what I love high kick with the kid land there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But yeah, dude, like I don't like the reason this fight even happened in the first place is because Volkanovski cleaned out his division. You don't go up in weight class to take on the champ when you still haven't even defended your belt against somebody in your division. Like, what are we doing? What are we even talking about? That you can't, especially at lightweight. There's all these guys waiting. We're talking about two guys who do we give the title shot to? neither of them. Let's have them go up and weight class. Like, what are we talking about? You know,
Yeah. Blunderbuff saying Miro hyped. Oh, dude, I got so hyped right now just talking about multi-division champs. You know,
yeah.
And then HOB Comer saying Leon beats Colby.
I fucking hope so. God,
headshot dead, man. As Leon says, by the way, one of the coldest moments.
Yeah, that was sick.
In MMA history with Leon. I absolutely love it. All right, now for real, let's move on. We've been talking about this fight for 31 minutes.
Let's go.
You know,
but
it was worth it. But it was worth it. All right, co-main event, we had Kamaru Usman versus Khamzat Chimaev. What'd you think?
9 days notice Usman goes up in weight class.
Savage, another savage,
dude. I was pulling from hard on this one, and my bias may come through. My bias, let's be real. You guys might have different opinions on this fight. I don't know, but my bias is definitely going to come through in this one, I think. Because look, I don't dislike Khamzat Chimaev. I think he's a killer. I think he puts on fun fights. The Gilbert Burns fight was fucking incredible. I think the UFC has mishandled his career so far. They did a great job at the beginning and then just like dropped the ball completely with him, in my opinion. But I don't blame that on Chimaev. But
yeah, he goes so inactive in between fights, you know, that you almost forget about the legend that is the growing legend of Khamzat.
There's people think that he popped, that USADA popped him and didn't announce it, and that's why he was out for a whole year after he took no damage against Kevin Holland.
Dude, just throw him another person like Mearshart again. You know, just a rematch. Just anything to keep the guy active in between, man.
Kamaru coming in on 9 days notice. He's back-to-back losses for the first time in his career against Leon Edwards. First one, he was winning by a landslide and then got high kick at the end of the fight. Second one, Leon really did a great job and beat him and made the adjustments and like beat him. It wasn't just like a Hail Mary head kick, you know, like he beat him. And then so he's coming in off 2 losses, 9 days notice, going up in weight class against a guy who spent a year knowing that his next fight was going to be at 185. Khamzat was preparing for not a pressure wrestler, but a pressure fighter nonetheless in Paulo Costa. So he's kind of prepared. His grappling is always going to be his edge, so that he's already kind of matched up well for Usman. Usman breaks people with his pressure and his wrestling. It's going to be tough to do that to Khamzat.
Yep.
So
terrible matchup.
It's a bad matchup on 9 days notice across
everything's
the world.
Stacked against him.
He flies from Denver to Abu Dhabi for this fight. Like, that's crazy.
Not a short flight.
That's not a short flight, man. It's not. My boss was in Dubai. He was trying to go to this potentially. That was a long flight for him. So, and he wasn't fighting on 9 days notice. So I can't even imagine if you're Usman. They go out there. They're mixing it up a little bit. He does a good job, you know, defending the initial takedowns. But the problem is with someone like Khamzat, whose chain wrestling is so good. Once you defend that initial takedown, you got to fucking split, dude. You cannot be there. If he has a hand on you, he's going to get the takedown. You
explode
have to get
out.
Out of there.
Explode out.
Go. You got to go. Math Project says, disagree, brother. Yeah. He might be talking to HLV Comer saying Costa would have killed Chimaev. Look, first round, he ends up taking his back. Fantastic back work from Chimaev. I was telling Kevin, I was like, why is it that some guys get the backpack position and do no damage with it, never really threaten the submission, but then there's guys like Khamzat who gets the backpack for the whole round and it's a mauling. You know what I mean? Like, he's finding moments to land these shots while still maintaining position. That is incredible to watch. He's so good.
Close to sinking in the rear naked choke. Also got a neck crank in there.
Yeah, and on the flip side, Usman's discipline, man, to survive that, because you know he's moving just enough. He's defending his neck. The one time he almost gives up the neck is when he stands up, which is insane with his knees. He can't even run. He potentially popped a knee in the open workout before the fight. He stands up with Khamzat on his back. He gets the choke in, and I'm like telling Kevin, I was like, spike him. Now's your chance. Like, you need to spike him, and he just fucking bam, spikes him on his head. Breaks Khamzat's wrist when he planted from the spike, then survives the rest of the round. Incredible. And I was like, that's not a great round from Kamaru. Obviously, nobody knew that he broke his wrist at that moment live, but I was like, he survived, and that's pretty big. You know, now let's see what the gas tanks look like, because 9 days notice, you know, he's the CEO of EPO. This is right before the fight. Going to be interesting to see Kamaru's gas tank. And at this point, like I said, we didn't know that Khamzat's wrist was broken. And I was like, oh, wow. Looks like Khamzat might have gassed and not Kamaru.
Mm-hmm.
Could have been gassed. Could have also just been reluctant to throw. That second round, dude, Kamaru just defending takedowns, keeping his distance, landing that jab, that 1-2 cracks.
He was also telegraphing the takedowns a lot more at this point. Khamzat was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
he wasn't setting him up as well as he was in that first round. I mean, hey, by the way, first round, 10-8 round?
100% 10-8 round.
Right?
You got it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. 10-8 round, that first round. Second round, I thought Kamaru did such a good job keeping his distance. His fighting behind the jab was really good. He would fake like he's going to go for a takedown and then pop right back up just to keep him thinking, that's the elite, right? Throwing feints out there and getting reactions. He was getting Khamzat to react to pretty much everything he was doing. And he was tagging him. And I was like, look, this is pretty good. The round ends. And I was like, I thought that was a pretty clear round for Usman just because Khamzat really didn't do much at all, right?
Yeah.
It's not like Usman did a ton.
Probably dealing with that broken wrist that you're talking about right now, trying to figure out life. Like, how am I going to get through this, right?
Yeah. Am I going to lose to this man on 9 days' notice? I can't have this. Second round, I thought was a clear round for Kamaru. And I was like, all right, round apiece going into the third, but probably a 10-8 round in the first round. So if Usman just gets a 10-9 in this third round, it's probably just a draw. He might need a finish regardless, Second round or third round starts. And again, I feel like from what I remember, this was the one where Khamzat got a takedown, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Khamzat got a takedown. 2 minutes of control. This was it, right?
Yeah.
You got to get out of here. This ended up being a takedown. How insane is that?
And the way that he did it was so beautiful. Like, you talked about the fact that Kamaru should have just like booked it as much as he could. Not to say that he wasn't trying, right? But
yeah, right.
It just didn't seem like the explosion was there out of this. Like, usually you'll see somebody like pull back, turn, and then pull again.
Yeah.
And like just try to run in the opposite direction. In this case, held onto the ankle and then slowly climbed his way up to a single leg, which turned into a takedown.
And I think he knew, right? Like, because like you said, the explosion wasn't there in this moment, but later on, there was a moment where Kamaru kind of slipped, maybe threw a kick and he slipped, and he immediately was like, I'm getting the fuck up. Like, I'm not taking my time. Khamzat's someone who will take that opportunity. I'm pulling it up right now just so I can see it. Fuck, it was good. But for the first 3 minutes of the round, again, Usman's landing, right? He's throwing leg kicks. He's throwing that 1-2, cracking 1-2.
Finally letting his hands go a lot more in this round too.
Yeah, and and landing.
He seemed really hesitant in the second fight against Leon. And probably because he had gone knocked out for the first time in his career. He didn't want that to happen again. But he seemed gun shy, right? Going into this fight a little bit too in that first round and the second round. And part of it was probably knowing that Khamzat was going to try to take him down. So he didn't want to leave himself too open. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it could have been a combination of things. But when you see him start pressuring him more, and he's the one that's stepping forward in that third round, and he starts throwing combinations, you started seeing him starting to crack Khamzat Chimaev. And I was like, here's a perfect timing, Rich. He's so good. I know, dude. Like, but at that point, I was like, look, if he continues landing these shots and he continues putting his pressure on, like we could possibly see a finish here.
Yeah, and then Khamzat gets him down. But again, he gets him down. He has 2 minutes of control time in that fifth round, but he doesn't land any big shot. It wasn't like the first round where he took his back and was battering him, setting up submissions. Like, there really wasn't much going on the ground. And then Usman gets up, and they go toe-to-toe to end the fight. 10 seconds left, and they go full-on Max Holloway, Ricardo Lamas, just swinging and banging, dude. Like, that was so fucking cool. And then you find out after the fact that Hamzat's wrist was broken, and he still went down like that. God, dude.
Who was it recently that pointed down at the ground and then did a double leg
shot for takedown?
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
Who
that
was
recent,
it?
Though.
Yeah, it was recent where it pissed me off.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, dude, if you're going to point down the ground saying, hey, let's swing and bang to finish up, you don't start swinging and then take it down.
He pointed to the ground like, I'm about to put you on the mat. And then
that was my mistake. My mix-up. My mix-up.
But yeah, they finished going toe-to-toe like this, and they finished the fight. I thought this was a pretty clear draw, in my opinion. I had Usman winning the second and third round. I thought the second was the clearest round for Usman. Third round was pretty close just because the takedown and do you 2 minutes of control, whereas my opinion, 3 minutes of Kamaru landing the better shots on the feet. I think that outweighs 2 minutes of control. But I know that's might be my bias. Some people might disagree. I thought the second round was a clear Usman. First round was clear Khamzat, a 10-8 round. So I had 28-28 draw.
Yeah, ultimately, I'm fine with the decision too.
Yeah,
it wasn't anything crazy. I would have loved to see the draw. I would have loved to see the draw because it would have meant a rematch for us with a full camp for Usman.
And 5 rounds probably. There's no way this wouldn't be a main event.
You know what I mean?
And it would mean that Dricus du Plessis gets a title shot, which he deserves. So everybody wins. But look,
hey,
this should have been a majority draw.
Stays in shape, huh?
I know, dude. CEO of EPO. The one judge did fuck this up. It wasn't a robbery, in my opinion. The outcome itself is okay. I understand it. If you give rounds 1 and 3 to Khamzat, especially with the 10-8 round in the first round, but one judge gave Khamzat the second round and Usman the third, and that is a terrible scorecard. I don't know how you could argue that Khamzat won that second round where he literally didn't do anything the whole round. Granted, I'm not shitting on him because his wrist was broken and he was, like you said, trying to figure out life. But yeah, one judge gave Khamzat the second round and Usman the third. If he gave Usman the second round, that would have been 2 judges that given it a draw, and it would have been a majority draw. So that's kind of fucked. That leaves a sour taste in my mouth. And then Usman, pretty depressed there in the post-fight interviews. I don't know if you saw that with Megan Levy. He's like on the verge of crying, had to keep looking away. He's like, I don't know. I've never been here before. 3 losses in a row. I just don't understand what's happening. Fuck.
The deeper he got into his career, the more he grew on me, man. And he really ended up being a great champion, an active champion, a classy champion. Even during his losses.
Bangers, dude.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Knocking out Masvidal.
Remember, as he was coming up,
Covington.
As he was coming up, it was all like, this guy's just a grappler.
Yeah.
And once he became a champion, he's like, let me throw these hands.
Yeah,
and show these guys that can like absolute savages.
Breaking Colby's jaw, finishing Gilbert Burns, like just wars.
His ghost stories, man. Like as he's going through
in there.
Yeah. Dude, I love it. Like, so this is tough seeing him at this part of his career because
he's a great.
He's a great for sure. So it's tough. It's tough.
It's hard to watch, dude. And look, I don't think he should hang his head in this one. And I think going back, I think he'll be a little bit more confident in this fight than he was like right after the fight, right?
Sorry, UFC, give him a post-fight interview. He waited in the octagon.
That was bullshit,
he thought that he was going to talk to you guys.
Pissed.
And then
DC
just look. I hate doing this, and I hate shitting on commentators because Will does that for me, and I don't want to double up. But I cannot stand DC's post-fight interviews. Give me Bisping all day. Give me Felder all day. Because I think that they haven't forgotten what it's like to be that fighter and to get those 2 minutes of limelight where you get to just speak your mind, whatever you want to do. Like, you've earned that right. You've earned that mic right. I don't care who the hell's tripping in your ear saying, hey, we got to end this interview. We got to end this.
Like,
Joe Rogan will give them all the time too. Right? We know what these fighters mean to the sport. We know what these fighters mean to the fans. Fans appreciate Usman stepping in 9 days notice and going through this. Give the guy a minute or 2 minutes of my time.
I know, dude. Seriously.
It was so frustrating. And you see him like standing there looking at DC, waiting. And then so Khamzat goes over and is like, hey, brother, like, I'm sorry I smashed. Yeah. But that was rough, man.
It was tough. Yeah, I hated that, especially because, like, dude, it's the pay-per-view at this point. We're not worried about starting the next card on time. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, give him.
We had a weirdness. We can use this as a segue. We had a fight end real early right before this, so we had some time.
Yeah, Matt Prodigy says I agree. Give them 2 minutes. Yeah, dude, come on. Take one stupid slap ad away, and give it to the fighters.
Yeah, all 4 title fights, like it means anything.
Oh, you put the card,
so ridiculous.
The scorecards up.
Yeah. Shout out Vito for fucking this one up pretty bad. I don't see how you could give Usman or Khamzat the second round. The third round, arguable, right? Derek clearly gave Khamzat the third round. I'm not mad at that. It was a close round. 2 minutes of control is a big deal. So I understand why you could give him that. But man, second round for Usman is fucking dog shit.
Wow.
Or for Khamzat, I should say.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right, man. Well, hey, we have about 15 minutes left before we hit the hour mark, and we got muchos
8 more
más. Yes. So we can kind of just blow through these. These should be pretty quick, actually.
Yeah, most of them were terrible. So,
all right, let's go up for the next fight. We had Johnny Walker versus Ankalaev.
Yeah. We should also throw the doctor in there. It was actually Johnny Walker versus the doctor.
Damn, and the doctor won.
Yeah, the doctor won. Fight starts. Johnny Walker doing a good job landing that low kick on Ankalaev. Probably saw what Jan Blachowicz did and was like, I could do that. And then Ankalaev was like, hey, I'm not just stagnant in my career. And he started checking him pretty good. And I was like, oh, that's dangerous. Hits Johnny Walker to the body. Johnny Walker buckles. And I was like, oh, no. And then immediately throws a flying knee. And it was fucking like, awesome. Yeah. Was he actually hurt? Maybe. I don't know. It didn't look like
I don't think he was, bro.
But like that type of split-second thinking is crazy, dude. Like to be like, ooh, I'm hurt. And then throw a flying knee, dude.
It was planned. Man. It was planned 100%, dude. And if it was anybody else other than Johnny Walker, I'd be like, maybe they were really hurt. But it's Johnny Walker. He's a wild, wild man. You know, like that's just who he is. And this is part of the reason we love a Johnny Walker. You just don't know what the hell's going to happen with this guy.
Yeah, Ankalaev runs through him after the knee. The knee doesn't land, but he uses it to close the distance and takes him down up here. And you can see him get that wrist control around his back. That left arm from Johnny Walker, the one that's across his belly. Ankalaev is reaching around the back to grab that. Yeah, so good. And then Blood says, call an ambulance, but not for me. Truly. So they get in this position. Eventually, Johnny Walker gets his hand free. And he posts on that knee, and Ankalaev blasts him with an illegal knee. It was a nasty one.
Yeah, it was
and
bad.
Johnny Walker just eats it, and he's like, 3 points were down. 3-point contact. That's illegal. And Ankalaev was like, shit, and he walks away. And I was like, all right, well, he ate that pretty well, right? Like, he got right back up. He wasn't wobbly. He looked a little confused, a little bit like, ooh, but you get 5 minutes. Or so we thought. The doctor comes in. I think we have a picture of the knee that landed. It was pretty illegal. Turns his head completely around. It was bad. But like I said, he ate it well. You know, he definitely did look confused when they showed the extended like interview that he did with the doctor. He was definitely a little starstruck. The doctor asks him where he is. In English, by the way. Johnny Walker, despite the name, not American, and he's definitely not British. He tells him, "I'm in the desert," and the doctor's like, "This guy can't fight." It's crazy, dude. It's crazy. He says, "What country are you in?" In the desert, and then chaos. And they call the fight. Johnny Walker pushes the ref, and I was like, "No, don't do that. That's the worst thing you could do." And they're trying to fight. Ankalaev's trying to get over to him. And he's like, no. The people are in the cage. Johnny Walker points to the empty side of the cage. And he's like, if you go over there, we can fight more. And Ankalaev's trying to get over there. And then Dana White runs in. It's like the Ultimate Fighter clip where he runs in. He's like, oh. You could tell he was just like, don't let this get crazy. And they call the fight. It was crazy, dude. The nuts.
Yeah. Ele não fala inglés, okay? He doesn't speak very good English, bro. It's like, if you've ever heard his interviews, and I do think that the knee had some impact on him. Okay?
Says, and not a major alcohol brand. He's not American, he's not English, and he's not an alcohol brand. Shut up,
all of those facts. Yeah. But, I think that part of it, too, you can see is when the ref waves it off, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's universal. Fighters know this. And Johnny Walker, after the ref walked away after doing this, put his hands up and started walking towards Ankalaev, thinking like the ref was like, all right, let's continue. This doesn't mean let's continue.
I don't think it was that. I think it was like, I don't give a fuck what they say. We're in a fight right now, and I'm going to keep fighting. I think it was more that. I don't know,
man. If you go back and take a look at the footage, like, he looks confused on that part. And but then again, he always looks confused.
He might, but he's probably confused. Like, why would you stop this? I don't agree. I'm going to keep fighting because he's fucking Johnny Walker. He's a fucking psychopath.
He's a savage. He's a wild man.
Involved. He's always involved with this weirdness, dude. Every time he fights, there's something weird that happens. You know, his coach.
Yeah, I love it.
He gets knocked out, like the inflatable guy, and Kavanaugh's posting a video in their hotel room while they're eating pizza, just depressed. And then the next fight after that, they kick him out of the arena, and he's just on the strip in his shorts and no shoes on. He's like,
I love it. I love it.
There's always
give me
weird,
more
dude.
Johnny Walker.
Yeah.
We all need more Johnny Walker in our lives.
Yeah, seriously. But yeah,
it's
crazy.
Awesome.
And
all right.
That was not the first time the doctor fucked up last night.
Oh yeah. We'll continue talking about that, huh?
Yeah, we can move on
a little bit later. But I think the next one we're going to cover is Aliskerov versus Alves.
Yeah, this was Ikram was actually supposed to fight Paulo Costa, right? And then Paulo Costa was like, "What? I never signed that." And then so it fell through, and then they give him Warlley Alves for this one. I think he was originally supposed to fight Imavov, right? Yeah,
and Warlley, by the way, going back up to this division that he had been out of for a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a tough go for him, right?
For Warlley?
But for Warlley, so he comes back, takes on a killer on short notice in a weight class above. Not getting the respect that Usman and Volk got, but it wasn't on 10 days notice or anything, but it was a short notice up a weight class against a savage. So give him some respect. And then, also Dana is here. He said, it's an illegal kick, man. Should have been a disqualification. Yeah, they called it a no contest, the Johnny Walker fight, when it ended off of an illegal knee. I feel like that's pretty clear-cut DQ. I think the rules are it has to be like a certain amount of time into the fight or something like that, which is ridiculous. Because the fight ended off an illegal shot. That should just be a DQ automatic. I don't know how you mess that up.
It should be.
Regardless of what the rules actually say, that's a DQ. But yeah, Ikram comes in. Warlley is trying to land some stuff and just can't find his range. Ikram finds it immediately, drops him with the jab, gets him up against the fence, explodes with a flying knee, that jumping switch knee, lands on him, and then just goes Dragon Ball Z combo, Manel Cop style on the fence and just drops him. It was fucking brutal.
Beauty. By the way, I love that username Dana is here. What if it's really Dana White? That's his his username. And he's just gonna go on and say that's fucking illegal. That knee is fucking illegal. All right. We can hop on to the next one, and you can just cover them real quick, Will. We don't need massive breakdowns from me either. Yeah, so Said Nurmagomedov versus Gafurov.
Yeah, Said was originally supposed to fight, was it Sandhagen? No, Kyler Phillips. That was his last fight. He was booked against Kyler Phillips, and then he withdrew. Then he ends up against Gafurov. Gafurov clearly trying to pet pressure, get past Said's kicks because his kicks are he's so like dexterous. He could throw like jabs with his kicks, kind of. He lands a nice high kick off of like no space, like Super Bond. And Gafurov shoots for a takedown, and immediately Said gets that choke in, and it was fucking awesome, man. And he just rips it, locks it up, chokes him out.
Yeah, Gafurov was out like. You know, he held on as long as he could. And he's like, I'm about to go out. And he tapped. Yeah. As soon as he let him go, he was still out.
Yeah. Look, that's a sick-ass picture, man.
It was pretty bad.
Good photos from last night.
Yeah, really good pictures. All right, let me move on to the next one here. We had Mokaev versus Tim Elliott. By the way, just wanted to share this one. I don't know if you could see it.
Hey,
that's me with your boy Tim Elliott there. So you could guess who I was cheering for.
Yeah, and I thought Tim Elliott did a really cool job this fight. His grappling's so fun. He got a takedown on Mokaev, and I was like, how's Mokaev going to deal with being off his back? Ends up getting up after like a minute of control. Eventually gets his own takedowns, just staying in guard the whole fight, which is kind of like frustrating to watch a little bit, but also Tim Elliott just throwing up like buggy chokes and like trying to get triangles. Like he was just real crafty off his back. But yeah, Mokaev just real, just okay with staying in guard. And then they get up, and Tim Elliott lands 2 knees to the head while he's got him in that front headlock position. And Mokaev's got his hands kind of on the mat, and he pulls him up, knees him, they scoots him back, knees him again. And they're like, was that one illegal? And Herzog stops it. And they're like, I don't really know. And then they let the fight continue. No point deduction. And then another point, he knees him in the head again right here. And they call it. And I was like, no, what are you doing? Herzog, you're my boy. And I was like, catch your position. I was telling Kevin, I was like, catch your position. There's nothing touching. Can we go back to that picture real quick, Rich? There's nothing. It's just his feet are on the ground. It's not illegal. It was perfect from Tim Elliott. They stopped the fight, and he's like, no, watch it. And you can hear someone in his corner screaming, his butt wasn't on the mat. Only his feet were on the mat. You could hear him in the corner. And so they reset him at that position, which is, I guess, the best thing he could do. But it kind of pissed me off because It's a break in the action. Who knows where they would have went from these knees? He
Yep.
could have landed more knees. And eventually, Mokaev hits this peek out that is fucking beautiful from this position. Oh my God, dude! There was no pictures of it, but man, if you could find it, a clip of that, and go back and watch that, because God damn, it was nice. And he ends up on top. Yeah, just fantastic grappling from Mokaev, and then he gets the arm triangle, and that's it. That's a wrap. But yeah, kind of a bummer with that stoppage from the knee. So it was
pretty sad to see Tim Elliott lose there again. My boy fighting out of Frisco, Texas now. Shout out Tim Elliott. All right, we had Basharat versus Henry before that.
Yeah, we're gonna skip the Trevor Peek fight because Trevor Peek evolved his game and was not nearly as exciting as he used to be, but he got the win. So good job. But Basharat versus Victor Henry. We talked about chaos, right? We had the weirdness with Johnny Walker. We had the weirdness with the knee stoppages from Tim Elliott. This one was arguably the weirdest because they're fighting. Good first round. Basharat's very crafty. His striking is very fun to watch. He throws a turning side kick to the head, or like a spinning back kick, right? Not a spinning. A lot of times people confuse a wheel kick with a spinning back kick. This is a back kick where it's almost like a push instead of like the whip from the rotation. Catches Victor Henry on it. Beautiful. Fun scrambles on the ground. It's a fun fight, and I was really looking forward to this one.
And then
hits him with an inside leg kick right here. There it is. Victor Henry goes down immediately. And look, we've seen Victor Henry in dogfights, and so there's people saying, I hate anytime there's a low blow. There's like, let's go through it with a magnifying glass, and did it actually land, or is this guy a bullshitter? And you're like, hey man, this guy's fighting for our entertainment. Can we just like let him have a moment here? Like, it's crazy, dude. It's like, and the commentators do it now too. Did it land? Hey, you got kicked in the nuts. And everybody forgets all of a sudden, every man has been kicked in the nuts growing up.
Oh, it's terrible.
At least once.
Terrible. It's
terrible. And everybody knows, even just a slight nudge, it doesn't have to be the direct impact. Even just a flick, even like, it could be bad off of just a touch. And if you're wearing a cup, some people have never worn a cup. If you're wearing a cup and the cup gets hit, or you kick the leg and the cup moves and hits you in the nuts, that's terrible. It's bad. Even just that, it bad.
Pinches them. Oh,
and that's what I think happened here. I think it pinched it, dude, because he was down for a while. The doctor comes in, the same doctor that asked Johnny Walker where he was, and he goes in there and he goes, "It didn't get you in the balls." And Victor Henry's like, "What are you saying to me right now?" He's like writhing in pain. You can hear him like moaning in pain. This guy trains with Josh Barnett, dude. This guy's not. He's been in wars. He's been in dogfights. He's not faking this. And he's like, it hit me in the dick and balls, dude. What are you telling me right now? How are you going to come in here and tell me that I didn't get kicked in the ball? It was insane to hear him say it didn't hit you in the balls.
Can you imagine, like in that Johnny Walker fight, like the doctor going in there and saying he can't continue, and then a fighter coming in there and being like, actually, he can.
Yeah,
like, dude, no, stay in your lane, bro. Like, you don't go in there and tell a fighter you didn't get kicked in the nuts.
Yeah. This is a bummer to see. This is Basharat's Instagram. He says 15-0. Let's see, where did he say it? I won by TKO today, 100%. Thanks, Rich. I was having trouble there. Hello. Said I won by TKO today, 100%. I tried to give the benefit of the doubt, but I know what I felt in there, and watching it over 1,000 times, there was no way that was low. Swipe to see the proof. Dumb. I had my timing. I was speaking to him the whole time in there, and we both knew I was going to finish him in that second round. I made the veteran quit. I am the boogeyman of the division. I will be appealing this ASAP. What are we talking about? And then he said that Josh Barnett said that Victor Henry quit. And then Josh Barnett was like, what the fuck are you talking about? I had absolutely never said that, because later Victor Henry's throwing up in the back and they had to take him to the hospital for an ultrasound because dude was clearly fucked up from it. Not good.
That comment on the bottom, why is Victor in the back throwing up? You kick him low, give it up. That's hilarious.
Yeah. And then he said, if we can zoom out, Rich, he replied to that comment. And I think he said something like, he's throwing up because he was scared.
What? Because we're in a fist fight.
Yeah. And he was scared for his life and he quit. So when you're scared, people throw up. His coach said he quit. And then Josh Barnett was like, you better shut your goddamn mouth. I will come out of retirement and beat your ass.
The balls collector has entered the division since HLB Cobra. He's coming for them. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
He'll collect them all.
And I won't stop until I get them all.
Yeah. Damn, dude. All right. We can move
on.
We can move on from this one. Let's see. The next one we're going to cover is Breeden versus Jubli. Jubli. Sorry.
Yeah. This fight was fucking incredible. I loved this fight so
fun
much.
Fight.
Jubli, the first 2 rounds, so sharp. So goddamn sharp. He's throwing that 1-2 extended jab. He throws the 2 behind it, leans over, and then as he's coming back, he just throws the lead hook. Just as like this is my escape. Every single time I'm going to do it. It was beautiful, and he was catching Breeden on all 3 punches over and over and over again. And Breeden is like a dog, right? Literally.
That's the problem. He didn't know he had that dog in him.
Yeah,
he's coming out barking.
Yeah,
legit barking.
The first 2 rounds, and Jubli's beating the brakes off him. Really sharp, just surgical, bam, 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 bam. 3rd round starts. Breeden needs a finish, and he literally starts barking at him. I've never seen it before.
So in the stream I was watching, right? They didn't show the corner work. Did the corner? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Did the corner?
No. They cut to ads.
Oh, dude. Because I wonder if they're like, you got that dog in you. Show him. Show him who's got that. And he just comes out like, woof, woof, woof. Like,
dude,
so for anybody that didn't watch this fight, you need to go back and watch this fight. Because
it was amazing.
Jubli is surgical the first 2 rounds.
Really.
And he looks like he's cruising into a victory.
Knees in the clinch. Oh my God, he looks so good.
He cut a Breeden really bad, Apparently Breeden had a cut like 3 weeks ago that just reopened, and it's just like talking as he gets hit. And Jubli's like
skin hanging down.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
And then all of a sudden Breeden comes out.
Literally barking at him with his hands down.
He's so hesitant to throw anything at that point. And it's just Breeden walking him down, like he's throwing his hands up.
USA.
Yeah.
USA. Like
you know what it reminded me of? Stockton. You know what?
Really, yeah.
When Nick Diaz was yelling out, "Stockton, motherfucker!" and
you're like, what?
Yeah, well, they're like, why is this guy yelling this? I don't know what to do. Dude, Jubli was
amazing
in his head.
Yeah,
like in his own head after that the entire time.
Shut him down, completely shut him down, and then just walked him down and clobbered him until he knocked him out. It was crazy to watch.
Legit barking as he's walking towards this man with his hands down in a fist fight.
Like fucking DMX, dude, just fucking barking at the guy, fucking yelling USA at him. And you can tell Jubli's like trying to reset. And he's just like, what the fuck's happening? And he just kept walking him down and landing on him, and then he knocked him out. It was incredible.
Absolutely love the strategy. Breeden, I hope he does that every single time.
Definitely, I didn't like, did he miss weight, Breeden?
Breeden missed weight by, I think it was 3.5 pounds, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 3.5 pounds. It says he came in with staph infection. So shout out to your boy for fighting with staph and not telling anybody. Kind of fucked up, if you ask me. But that's what happens when you're a dog, dude.
Hey, when you got that dog in you?
Yeah.
He's a dog,
crazy.
Yeah,
I watched this one back. I watched this one back this morning. Fucking awesome, dude. If anybody didn't catch this one, for sure.
When he clipped him with that right on the chin and the way that Jubli just like
crumbles.
Yeah, it just crumbled.
And then he hits him
great stoppage.
The head real quick.
Yeah, just for good measure. Pop.
Yeah.
Look
at this face
down.
Man. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. All right. Last one we're going to cover. Let me see here. I think it was Magomedov versus Silva.
Bullet. Yeah, Shara Bullet. Highly anticipated debut from Shara. The UFC has a new villain. HLB Comer says apparently there are no rules fighting in the desert. They let a guy with one eye fight. And in this one, Breeden obviously had a fresh cut that, of course, opened and looked disgusting. Yeah, literally a skin flap hanging down. Also had staph infection. So, but yeah,
I think the second fighter in this card that said they had staph infection, right?
Yeah, Dudakova, I think, also had staph.
Yeah.
Not cool. Pretty fucked up, actually.
Just also, staph out
we didn't cover it
on the mat.
We didn't cover it at the first couple fights, the card too.
Yeah.
Dumas versus Azatar, we're not covering it, but Azatar the whole time was just grabbing Dumas's braids and just punching him. And it was like, what are you doing? You can't grab hair. And then DC was like, are you sure you can't? Because you can in the NFL. And it's like, hey, what are we talking about? DC, what the fuck are we talking about? Since when has there been any correlation between rules in the NFL and MMA?
Hey, you could tackle in one, you could tackle in the other.
True. Yeah, I guess that does it. They're a match. But yeah, this fight, Shara, highly anticipated prospect coming into the UFC. Really good kickboxing. Little bit of a mean streak. Just recently at that jiu-jitsu competition, he gets leg locked, he gets tapped, pushes the guy over. They had to separate him. Not a good dude. Also in a mall, he saw a couple kiss on the escalator in front of him, taps him on the shoulder. He's like, hey, man, where I come from, that's not cool to do that in public. And the guy's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then they get into a scuffle. The guy bests him in the scuffle. And Shara's like, I can't have this. Waits around a corner. And then as soon as the guy comes around the corner, sucker punches him, stomps him out like Shogun in Pride, gets arrested for it. So guy's got a little bit of a mean streak. But he's very good at kicking. Because the whole fight he's just kicking Bruno Silva, and Bruno Silva is like, oh my god, his legs get chewed up, his body gets chewed up, he kicks him in the head. But Bruno, you could tell Char's a little bit like he struggles with hands. Like Bruno was putting hands on him a little bit once he got past the kicking range, and then he really needs to work off that takedown defense. I think he was kicking maybe a little bit too much, and Bruno was able to get takedowns on him pretty easily off the kicks. And then but once he got taken down, he's chewing your boy up from the back. Just immediate elbows. He postures up to throw head kicks from the ground. Like he was just lighting him up off his back and really was just winning off of his back at that point. It was crazy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Dude, it was weird. I believe it was the second round, right? When he had him down and he was throwing those elbows like crazy.
Yeah.
And that was like the first time coming out of the round. I was like, man, that was an easy round for Magomedov, dude, off his back. Off his back. Easy call.
Yeah.
Easy call.
Yeah. I wonder
also looks like he was is he Amish?
Dude. I don't think he's Amish.
I mean, oh man, look at that leg got so beat up too. Dude. Silva. Oh man, that's rough.
But all 3 rounds. Shara won all 3 rounds off his back in most of the fight.
Will, I just want to tell you, great job blowing through like 8 fights right now, going through like 8 fights in like 15 minutes. That was fantastic, man.
Yeah.
Props to you. Moment of silence?
Yeah. We only had a couple canceled fights, but all of them were big ones. They literally all mattered. Imavov was supposed to fight Ikram originally. That would have been cool to see. Definitely a better test than Warlley Alves. No disrespect, but on a full camp, Imavov versus Ikram is the way to go. I think they're saying Ikram's going to get a ranked opponent next because clearly he's very good. Yeah. Like we didn't really learn much about Ikram in this fight because it was like, yeah, okay. And again, no disrespect. Paulo Costa was originally supposed to fight Khamzat. He pulls through because he had nasty staph. He was there at the fight, but man, he had holes in his elbow, and it's bad, dude. It's a real bad staph infection.
It's bad.
People were like, you can never trust him, and you can't. But this one's legit.
You just need to pour some of that secret juice all over it.
Yeah,
it'll be good in no time.
Yeah. Islam was originally supposed to fight Do Bronx for the rematch. Again, if you haven't seen the cut that Do Bronx sustained in training, it is a doozy, real bad. So yeah, that's how we got Usman and Volkanovski. That's the moment of silence.
Okay, and the bonuses, monies.
Yeah, first off, the doctor got 2 finishes in one night, so he gets a bonus. No, Mokaev gets one for the baby. Yeah, might lose his job actually. Might be the opposite of a bonus. Mokaev gets a bonus for finishing Team Elliott with the arm triangle. Saeed gets one for that nasty choke out. Ikram gets one for his finish for Warlley Alves, and then Islam gets one for the high kick knockout over the great.
Nice. And that was it for UFC 294. What do we have next?
All we have next weekend is
Fury versus Ngannou
versus Francis Ngannou.
Woo, doggy. Look,
yeah,
I'm excited for this one.
Look what happens when you actually put effort into posters. This is fucking awesome. Regardless of what you think about the fight, some people are hating on it, and I understand why, but it's a good fucking poster.
It's fantastic. Yeah, outside of that, I'm taking a look at the rest of the card. I don't know who they are.
What are you doing looking at a boxing card?
I don't know, dude. I mean, it's right here, so I'm just taking a look. But yeah, Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, 10-round fight. I know it's part of like the boxing culture going on right now, right? Where we're seeing some of these weird fights go on. But look, I'll take it. I'll take it,
man. Let the guy get his bag. Come on.
100%, dude. He's gonna get paid, and I'm glad he's gonna get paid, man. So,
Blunderub says you got to talk about the 17-year-old Tawan Chow style head kick from the KO from Friday. Yeah, one Friday fights were fucking awesome. But we're already an hour and 10 minutes in. We just don't have enough time. We do have a one Friday fights next week, so maybe we'll cover some of those fights, and then Fury versus Ngannou.
Oh, I'm down with that. I am down with that. Hey, shout out to Regen, Blunderbub, Brian, HOB Comer, Diggs, by the way. Who else? Am I missing anybody? Did I ever say Blunderbub?
Math Prodigy.
Math Prodigy for joining us. We had a lot of folks join us live. Dana is here. Might be Dana White. Who knows? Who knows?
But Christopher, that's the boy.
Made this really, really fun. So I appreciate everybody hopping on. Blunderbug told me to watch the clip. I will absolutely watch the clip. Please do. If this is your first time joining us, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, tell your friends, tell your family. We're trying to reach 10,000 subscribers. We're about 9,200 right now, which is nice to see the growth, but we're trying to get to that ever elusive 10K. It's going to be a very, very happy moment when we hit that 10K. Outside of that, if you don't want to watch, but you want to listen, where can they find us, Will?
Yeah, at Story of the Fight everywhere. Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, anywhere podcasts are. Also video on X and Twitch and Spotify. I think we have video too, actually. Shout out Chris. And then, storyofthefight.com will show you everything. If you want merch, if you want the hoodie, if you want the t-shirts, if you want the beanie, storyofthefight.com. It'll show you the storefront right there. It'll list all our social medias. Just click through them, hit follow, hit subscribe, all that jazz.
Thank you very much to everybody for listening. And just in case everybody was wondering, like, hey, this show's pretty well produced, I wonder who produces it. That's actually our guy in the background, Richard Bustos, Richard Casual. We love you, Rich. And that's all I got. Thank you, everybody, for listening to another week of Story of the Fight.